Hello and welcome back, and if you are new here, welcome, we are very glad to have you here. In fourth episode of Season 1, we will tackle some points of contention mentioned in previous video, regarding nature and definition of electric current. In previous video, we defined electric current as organized and directed movement of electrons through conductor. We have shown how, under the influence of voltage, which we defined as difference in potential of two negatively charged points in space, electrons move across conductor from place of higher to a place of lower or zero potential. The definition of electric current as organized and directed movement of electrons is today's widely accepted definition. In previous video, we have noted that we do not share in this definition, and in next part of video we will demonstrate in a couple of experiments why we do not agree with this definition. But before we proceed any further, a disclaimer. What we are about to discuss in this video is our take on definition of electric current. We leave it up to you to do your own research and adopt any definition you like, but this is our 2 cents about the subject matter. Before we proceed, let's discuss the title of this video and give definition for 2 terms we will use. The first term is dogma, and the second term is paradigm. There are many definitions for both terms, depending of the context, but for us and our need, we will use the following. Dogma is a point of view or tenet, put forth as authoritative, without adequate grounds. The word paradigm is defined as a philosophical and theoretical framework of a scientific school or discipline within which theories, laws, and generalizations, and the experiments performed in support of them are formulated. Thank you, Merriam-Webster. Now, fancy words, but what do they mean? Can we simplify this gobbledygook, and make things more understandable and easier to understand and comprehend? Let's tackle the first term, dogma. Today we believe that the world is made of atoms, and atoms are building blocks of everything. We believe that. Why do we use word believe in here? Well, for one, no one has ever seen an atom. We believe they exist. We have entire periodic system showing us different types of atoms, we have schematics showing us nucleus, made of neutrons and protons, with electrons orbiting the center of the atom in various orbits, we call shells and so on and so forth. But, in reality, has anyone ever seen an atom with his own eyes? No. And as things are for now, it is even impossible to conceive an apparatus that will enable us to see atoms, neutrons, protons and electrons. We have electronic microscopes that enable us to see the tiniest things, but even for electronic microscope, atoms are beyond its reach. And every depiction of an atom as of today, is just a rendering, our best effort to draw up a picture of something we are clearly unable to see with our own eyes. At this point, there are some of you who will raise an issue with this statement, and say that, there are many things we can't see with our own eyes, a wind for example, but we do know that wind exists, we can feel it, even measure its speed and so on, so the same thing goes for atoms. And that is true, up to the point. If you believe the dogma, that the world is made of atoms, then the wind is just a collection of atoms that the air is made of, and their movement we perceive as a wind, is a result of difference in temperature and atmospheric pressure. But the wind is a construct, so is the temperature, and so is the air pressure, that relies upon basic building blocks, atoms. All the theories and knowledge we have today, fits perfectly because of the dogma that the world is made of atoms, because all of those theories are constructed on that basic belief, and not the other way around. None of those theories proves or shows the existence of atoms, rather the opposite, they use supposed existence of atoms to build constructs and theories upon that basic belief. And what to say about quantum physics, a very popular field of science, that totally negates existence of matter itself and defines everything as energy, with matter being just a subjectively perceived state of energy, dependent of the subjective interpretation of the observer. Next, the paradigm. If you take a single belief, and make up entire stories, based on that one single belief, and you name them scientific theories, you get paradigm. So, in this case, our single starting belief is that world is made of atoms. Build upon that belief, and you get physics, chemistry, biology, even a meteorology, all full-grown sciences with their theories and suppositions, defining world as we see it today, and that is a paradigm for you. Paradigm is a set of beliefs that forms our reality and world as we see it today. Take all of the theories, from all of the sciences, and you get a reality. That is what the sciences tell us. They tell us how much something weighs, how fast something is moving, how tall something is, what will be a result of collision of two moving objects, how fast an object thrown from height of 10 meters will hit the ground, what its terminal velocity will be, and how much time the fall will take, and so on and so forth. Some of them even dares to tell us what has happened in the past, and others try to convince us that they know what will happen in the future. Each science weaving an elaborate story, based upon circumstantial evidences, all of them started and matured from a basic belief. And, each and every one of them, as true as the scariest story of them all, of an elusive architect, who gave us unsalted crackers and spoiled grape juice. Now, let's put all of this into context. Let's use current dogma and paradigm to design an experiment. First, let's take for granted what science tells us: the electric current is made of moving electrons. There is no perpetual motion. If we rub the rod with fur rug, there will be an excess of electrons on the surface of the rod. We call that electrical charge, and all the electrons together have an electric potential. Let's introduce a second rod, one entirely deprived of any excess of electrons. If we put them close to each other, there will be a potential difference between them. We call that voltage. Now, just for fun, let's put only one electron on the first rod, and leave second rod empty. Let's connect them with copper wire. What will happen? The current paradigm says, since there is a difference in electrical charge between rods, there is a potential difference, hence, there is voltage. Next, electron has to move from place of higher to place of zero potential, and there is a conductor to facilitate that journey. Since this is one paradigm obedient electron, he moves. Now, wait. This is the same situation as in previous video. The electron moved from first to second rod, and we are back on square one. But we must obey the paradigm. Again, there is a potential difference now between second and the first rod, and there is a path for electron, so he has to move. And again, we are back where we started. If we continue to obey paradigm, the electron will have to keep moving from first to second rod, and vice versa, thus we have a perpetual motion. That is in contradiction with our first supposition: there is no perpetual motion. So, something is out of joint. Let's design a second experiment now. In our previous video, we saw how electrons propagate themselves through conductor, jumping from one adjacent atom to next, subsequently leaving positively charged holes, which moves in opposite direction of electron movement. This movement of electrons is called electron drift. Surprisingly enough, electrons move very slowly through the conductor. Their speed depends on voltage, strength of current and type of conductor. In typical household scenario, in copper conductor, the drift speed is only 0.5 meters per second. So, for our giddy electron, it would take him 3 minutes and 20 seconds to traverse 100 meters. What has happened? We followed the dogma and the paradigm to the letter, and look where it took us. In the first experiment, we inadvertently invented perpetual motion, and in the second experiment, we calculated that it would take quite a few hours for our electrical power to traverse a short distance from our neighboring power plant to our house. None of this is true or possible. The dogma and the paradigm have been alive and well for hundreds of years, so they must be true, otherwise someone would have disapproved them a long time ago. But we made no errors in our experiments as well. But both truths cannot exist simultaneously. Who is wrong? Nobody and everyone. But that is impossible. No, it is not. Let's see how we can have our cake and eat it too. Surely, there is a way to make sense out of all of this nonsense. Let's remember from our episode 2, that planet Earth is reservoir of unlimited number of electrons, and that all of those electrons combined, create Earth's electromagnetic field. So, if an unlimited number of electrons create Earth's electromagnetic field, then it follows, that one or more electrons are capable of creating an electromagnetic field as well, being smaller and weaker as a result, but existing, nevertheless. Calling upon our electrically charged rod, we can deduce, that all those electrons on rod, create an electromagnetic field as well. This is in line with current paradigm, of Earth's electromagnetic field. Now, we saw that movement of electrons through the conductor, called electron drift, is very slow. So, that cannot be the way electrical current propagates itself. The electromagnetic field, is by its mathematical nature a vector, meaning it has strength and direction, and it obeys the law of superposition, meaning that the strength and direction of two electromagnetic fields, add or subtract like any two other vectors. The electromagnetic field propagates itself through a conductor as a wave. The outer shell electrons in conductor, act as facilitators of that movement, thus propagating an electromagnetic wave across the conductor, from point of higher to the point of lower or zero potential, until the resulting strength of electromagnetic field is of an equal strength on starting and ending point of the conductor. The propagation speed of an electromagnetic wave is the same as the speed of light. That is how the electrical power, from our power plant gets to our home, in no time. Now, our paradigm is alive and well, but it has shifted just a little bit. Do electrons still play the part in transmission of electric power? Yes. Does electric charge still play the part in whole process? Yes. Is there still movement of electrons through the conductor? Yes. But now, nature of electric current, is not an organized and directed movement of electrons, but rather, a movement of an electromagnetic wave facilitated by the electrons themselves. So, our dogma and paradigm are alive and well, all of our players in this story are also alive and well, but now, they just play a different role in entire process. Our understanding of the process is better now. We did not entirely negate all previous knowledge, but we did adjust some parts of it, reformulated it, to better serve the reality of situation. That adjustment is what we call a paradigm shift. How do we proceed from here? Surely, calculating everything regarding electric current, in context of an electromagnetic waves, would be cumbersome, complicated and totally unproductive. So, we will make a compromise. Boy oh boy, are you going to hear this word from now on? Ad nauseam. Everything, I mean everything, regarding amplifiers, is one compromise on top of the other, with lot of suppositions and plain guessing games. But, let's get back to our compromises. In order to make our lives easier, and process of designing electric circuits fun and interesting, we will make a compromise to observe and calculate electrical power as organized and directed movements of electrons through the conductor. We will make another compromise too. We will adopt the movement of electrical current, from positive to negative point of power source, thus agreeing with what is called engineering direction of current. Next, we will adopt that Earth's potential, called as well, a ground potential, is 0 volts. But, before we conclude this video, there was a question left unanswered. How many electrons are there in 1 volt? While the question is valid, the answer cannot exist. Since voltage is difference between potentials, 1 volt can be result of subtraction of 5 and 4 volts, or 10,000 volts, and 9,999 volts. The answer would be analog to answer to the question, how much does wind weights? In our next video, we will discuss resistors and voltage drop, a necessary prerequisite for fully understanding design of electrical circuits. Please, before you leave, show your appreciation by liking this video, sharing it, leaving a comment, and consider subscribing. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye.